All right, you're going to need to speak up a little bit. Maybe just pull your chair in a little bit more this way if you could.
You're going to be able to get in through here?
Yeah, that's true too. All right, well, we have a piece right here, so let's just start with this. Hold on, let me just make sure that it's right since we moved. Okay.
This is a piece from Guatemala. It's a nice mask. It shows in here, this design coming down here is the quetzal bird. It's sort of like a parrot in a way, but with a really, really long tail feather. It's the official coin in Guatemala. So rather than dollars, you have quetzals. So the quetzal bird is very special. It's kind of unique to Nicaragua, and it plays a role in a lot of their ceremonies and decorations and so forth. It's a very nice one, and it's got reasonably good size holes for it. So it's a little tiny piece broken off of each of the corners here, but it's very symmetrical, so I don't think you would notice it.
Is that one piece, two pieces?
Yeah, there's two in there. These are from the Amazon. They're to be headdresses. There's just a little tiny bit of the feathers left because they've been it's a little bit better from this side where you have the base of the feathers here, but beautifully done where all of the leather is worked in at the base of it. And then there's places in here where each of the feathers could be inserted, and so they have beautiful, really bright yellow feathers and blues and reds and so forth. So it's worn as that way, but
hold on.
Because of all the many years of storage, all of the feathers have deteriorated. This is another one of the same style, although obviously a lot thicker. You can see how thin it is in that one, with this one much thicker. And it's just beautiful in terms of the way they've got all the individual small sticks here and woven together. And then in this one you can see the traces of the feathers. Here's some little black and white ones and some bright orange yellowish ones, and there were some green and blue ones in here, so that when you wore it, it can be pressed on fairly firm, so you could do dancing and still keep its positioning. It's a shame the feathers were rotted away, but that was many years ago, and so efforts should have been made to preserve it more way back at that time. This is just a turtle. Unfortunately, it's got a little break in the surface of it here, but it's a pretty nicely shaped turtle with the head and tail and so forth. So except for that little break, this one was it was from Central America when we were making our trip back up. So I'm not really precisely sure whether it would have been in Mexico or Guatemala that we got it.
them over here for you.
This is a turtle. It's got some little bit of engravings on the side that's sort of well shaped and got the spots for the eyes and the mouth. I'm 99% sure this one was from down in Panama with the Kuna Indians down there, the space here underneath where the four legs would have been, but it's of a fairly light wood. It's not balsa, but a very light one and a nice turtle. These two are just tortoise shells. They're about the same size. This one's been brushed a little more, so it has a little shinier surface than this one. These were just ones I've either found out in the woods out at Blackberry Hill or someplace. So they're local here in Virginia. I had planned that someday I was going to put a bottom to it and make them into a petal, so that there's a nice opening here where you could do that and come across and seal it up. But we don't have the bottom shells for that. But so need a little bit of cleaning up, but they're basically in pretty good shape. This figure came from Panama. It definitely is not Kuna. No parts of this seem to be typical for Kuna culture. Looks much more African. And I think when I got it down there, they said that had come from a group down, I think it was Rio Chico or Rio Negro. So it was probably down in the northern part of Colombia, so there may have been some group, because there's a very large lips here that would look much more African in nature and much more similar to the kind of carvings you would see in Africa. So it was, when I bought it, they said it came from the Choco Indians, C-H-O-C-O, and they lived near one of the rivers there in northern Colombia. This one is a snapping turtle shell. This one was out in Fluvanna County, out when we had farm out there, and White Dove Farm, and it's in excellent shape so that all the bottom here is completely tight and hasn't really got loosened up much. It's beginning now, after all of these many years, along in here the parts of the shell are starting to begin to peel off, and it has cracked along here. But it would make a beautiful rattle because you could put the handle into here, then you'd have a huge big rattle for that. And the shell is in nice shape. It's been pretty well preserved. When I got it, I had worked on it for a while, getting it to gradually rot out, so we'd still have all these parts in here to be able to put the handle for a big rattle with this snapping turtle.
That's a beautiful piece.
It's in good shape. You have to be careful of starting to crack on one side.
Well, hopefully I am careful enough. All right, you're recording there, babe.
Okay, well, I mean,
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't know where this came from. Something was bought commercially. It's a stone. It would be oriental, so it came from the east. Someplace it's obviously not jade, but it's some kind of stone like that. And it's an incense burner where you would put the candle in down here, and it would come up and heat whatever kind of fluid you had here in the top. I'm not sure exactly of the origin of this one. It's all of bone with all of the indentations blackened up. And so clearly then it would be as a kneeling figure. And my guess, I think again this one came from, I think down around northern Colombia. So it looks as if it would be a pipe with the way the hole is here, as if the pipe were going down there and you could have tobacco in it. But there's no place up here to be able to draw air through there, so I don't know in a sense how it would work as a pipe. It looks like it would be a pipe in the way that it's designed, but clearly not finished to be able to be usable as a pipe. This one is just a pipe flute. Or if you know how to do it, they're completely open all the way through. So you'd be able to make sounds with them if you knew how they're positioned. They seem to be a little bit unequal here. They don't come down completely regular. This one seems to be shorter than the ones next to it, but that's what it was intended to be. This last piece is tobacco. It comes from the San Blas Islands. It was used in special ceremony by the men, and it's a cigar, as you would ordinarily think of a cigar. But here in America, if it was a cigar, you'd have a lighted end here, and then you would draw the air through it and the smoke would come this way. They light it here and then insert the lighted end inside their mouth during some of the puberty ceremonies. You want to...
There you go. Okay. All right, you're going.
This was a pipe that Gary Rogers made for me. He was a graduate student here at UVA and had done his dissertation on sexual arousal of women during sleep. He really got to be almost like an adopted son. There was a very close relationship. We had done a sweat lodge together one time where it was Black Elk's grandson conducting it. And he took and got a piece of soapstone and just all on his own figured out the design and carved it out. And then there's an opening here. He made a piece of wood for it, but it actually draws fairly well. And so if you were smoking it and had the quantity in here, it fits together extremely well. So that he had taken and done all of this work preparing it and all this work of carving through the stone to get it such a neat frog was always, very, very special gift, because he knew it was my totem animal. So
you're mumbling a little bit. You need to enunciate and speak up a little more. Does that handle belong to that at all?
Yeah. No. These go together.
Okay.
There's one that's on there, the soapstone is what goes with that one.
Huh?
The soapstone that's on there goes with that wood.
You're good. Go ahead.
This one is another interesting nutria that has the typical long nose that you see of a woman from the San Blas Islands. I don't know what the purpose of this is. It has a hole at both ends that goes through, and air would go through. So I don't know what the purpose of it was. Whether it was for a fire to be able to blow on it to help with keep the flame going. I don't know. So it's a relatively unique piece that way, that it's so long and so, the fact that it's hollow, so quite different in terms of the other Kuna ones. This Kuna one is of a female figure. It's an unusual one that I don't recall ever seeing one before, where it was a female figure and sitting on a chair or throne. It's very, very light wood. So the kind of wood made a difference in terms of the power. You could get very light wood like balsa, or very, very heavy wood like mahogany, and then the type of texture and weight to it determines some of the usage that it was used for in the medicine basket. So this sitting in the throne was an unusual variation of usual nuchus. This is another example of tobacco. I had explained before how they would light it and then light it in their mouth. This one is a smaller one of what we had before, so it probably should be in the same bag as that one. This is the pipe that was given to me by two of my graduate students that came. They came together as a couple. She was 1/8 Apache, so she got special consideration for admission rates, just as at that time they were trying to encourage getting African American students enrolled. So this is a beautiful flat pipe. Got some very, very nice beadwork on it here, and then the stone is what would be called pipe stone. It comes from a special quarry up in the northern part of the country, up in I believe it's in North Dakota or South Dakota, but it's a special quarry because this pipe stone was highly valued for pipes, and there was like always a constant treaty whenever any tribe was going in to gather the pipestone for a pipe. Then they were safe there. No other Indians would attack them or come after them. So it fits on very nicely, and it has to be squeezed a little bit more, but between the beadwork and the leather work.
Show the beadwork more.
Huh?
Show the beadwork more.
Yeah, it would fit on there, but pipes would be very, very special.
Show the beadwork more.
So the beadwork here was quite elaborately done in all the fringe work, but pipes had special significance with the Native Americans. You talk about smoking the peace pipe and so forth.
Yeah, it's too dark. You can't really see it.
So it was a very, very nice gift from the residents. I don't know the history of this. I'm trying to remember whether this was crude. It's rather crude, and it looks similar to some of theirs. So it's obviously for burning incense. You put the incense here, and then the fire source would be under here and would come up through there. So it would be a way of putting in herbs or something into the